What up? Peace and love. What's up to the late night crew? Appreciate y'all for joining. I'm gonna talk a little bit about these Trump tariffs because I've been seeing people getting all scared and shit. Come on in here. Come on in here. Come on in here. What's up, Aries? What's up, Chubby? I was talking about you yesterday on the show, Chubby. How you was there from day one in the comedy world. Come on, Luther. The things that I've been through. Can I hear the music? What's up, Star? Hey, Star, is the music too loud? Let me know. Let me know if the music's too loud, Star. What's up, Mo? What's up, King Ed? But yeah, I want to talk about these tariffs. We've been talking about some good nigga shit on this channel. Time to talk about some political shit. I appreciate everybody for joining. Yeah. So let's talk about this whole tariff thing. Let's talk about it. Turn it down. All right, I got you, Star. Let me. That good? Star be holding it down. I appreciate Star for real, for real. She be holding it down. Any of you niggas out there post some bullshit, I got backup. But okay, so let's talk. Let's first start off by talking about Houston. Y'all choked. Y'all could have beat Florida. Y'all choked. And I think Houston choked because that's where Larry's from, and Larry's a choking ass nigga. So since Larry's from Houston, that's the reason why the University of Houston choked tonight in the national championship game because they got a bitch ass nigga in their city. If Houston didn't have such a hoe ass nigga in their town, they probably would have won. But that's my take on that game. Um, Florida has some white boy with a fucking mullet. Look like he gonna be wrestling alligators when his college basketball career is over with. That white center with the little mullet, that's an alligator wrestler. They had some old seashells by the seashore ass nigga up there with seashells in his dreads. In Houston, y'all lost to them weirdo ass niggas. You lost to a mullet and the seashells by the seashore ass nigga. But anyway, what's up, everybody? Man, I wanted to go to the Improv tonight, man. Boo's on stage, my nigga Boo, but man, my car fucked up. But let's talk about Trump's tariffs. I want to first start off by saying the media, we cannot allow the media to manipulate our feelings and our thoughts on things. And what I'm seeing right now is mass media manipulation over something that Americans should never have an issue over with. You know, I won't say never, but in this situation, it really shouldn't have an issue over with because of the trade deficit that we've been in and the amount of tariffs that have been levied against the United States. First off, what are tariffs? Tariffs are a tax, basically. Not really, but somewhat. Um, Tariffs are basically a tax on goods and services. They're basically a tax. Sorry about that. I haven't responded to his message. So it's a tax on imported goods. Basically, when it comes from somewhere else, when an item comes from another country, there's a particular tax put on it. And tariffs. You said stream is freezing? It's good on my end. What's going on? Y'all good? Is it still freezing? We good? Okay. All right, it's freezing. All right, so let me do this. Let me go. I'm gonna go sit closer to my Wi-Fi signal. I'm gonna sit closer to my Wi-Fi signal so it don't be freezing. Hold on. I'm gonna sit closer to my Wi-Fi signal. So that's what terrorists do, okay? Mm. One second, one second, one second. There we go. There we go. All right, Cole. So here we go. Oh, you have to repress. Okay, here we go. So that's what tariffs do. The tariffs, they basically balance things out. And countries charge tariffs so you can sell goods inside their country. They don't want the whole point of tariffs is so some outside country ain't making all the goddamn money on your citizens without you getting a cut and without that money being charged back. And for a long time in this country, when there was no income tax, tariffs was how this country made its money. And what's basically been happening is what happened with globalization over the last 50 years is America stopped manufacturing in the 70s, and the first people to get hit by that were black jobs. That's when the 70s, the whole broken glass thing in New York, when everything started to get really depressed in the 70s, that was a result of the United States saying, you know what, we're not going to manufacture things here in this country anymore. We're going to start having China and Taiwan and these places manufacture things. And part of that was for a large reason for that. One, they got rid of black jobs. Two, it was really messing up the American environment. The rivers, the Ohio River was messed up and still is. All that steel and all that manufacturing was really messing up and polluting our river systems and our air systems. And so the United States said, you know what? Let's give China all this pollution. And they started going out to China and having China and Taiwan and these other countries manufacture the things that was polluting America. And because the United States made that decision to export its manufacturing to other countries, what that did was over the last 50 years, it built China. It built large parts of Mexico. It built other parts of the country through exporting this production to outside companies. And what happened was, one, it was polluting our rivers and everything. Two, the main reason why these companies were doing that was for profit. Major, 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 major profit. Major profit. And so what they used to cost, let's say if something cost $1 to make here in the United States, it costs 10 cents to make in China and Taiwan. So America started doing that. And then all throughout the 70s, all throughout the 80s. And then when you hit to the 90s, that's when Bill Clinton dropped NAFTA in the 90s. And NAFTA was a North American Free Trade Agreement. I remember that shit hit when I was 12, 13. I remember it. Because I didn't know what the big old deal was about until later. And basically what that did with the North American Free Trade Agreement was the auto manufacturing and things like that, instead of paying Americans all that money in Detroit, Ohio, and LA, and the places that car parts and car stuff was manufactured, they started, those jobs then went into Canada and China, I mean, not Canada, China, Canada and Mexico. And so these companies like General Motors and Ford and all these different companies, they were able to then open up shop in Mexico and Canada and not charge a tariff when those products came back to the United States. Again, something that made Ford and General Motors very rich. But while these corporations became very rich, they did not pass along that savings to you and I, the consumer. They kept the difference in profit. They never passed the savings to us. So they didn't pass the savings to us. And it became a thing, it became in vogue in the 80s and the 90s to really push a lot of jobs, a lot of manufacturing, a lot of things that you can make out to China, to the point to where in 2001, China went from basically being irrelevant on the world stage in the 90s, in the 80s. See y'all young niggas, y'all think China's been around for a long time, but economically they were irrelevant my whole childhood, even through college. Even when I first started college, China was like, they were like sideshows. They were getting bitch slapped around by Japan all day. But in 2001, they joined the World Economic Forum. And right in my early college years, you saw China start to become a player on the world market. Well, the United States basically propped China up with the United States choosing to export its manufacturing to China. And so the United States basically propped up China and the rest of these countries. And so what ended up happening is there ended up becoming a trade deficit that we were in. We're still in. This country's it's so bad. One thing, this is another reason why I talk about music so much. One of America's biggest exports, America's most profitable export is music. I think last I checked, it was like entertainment and music was like number 7 or 8 on America's exports. But America's most profitable export is music, because music is just something us Black Americans create from source without having to dig a hole for oil. We don't have to put up big old windmills for water and for electricity. It just comes through our spirit. And whatever we as Black Americans create musically, the rest of the world consumes. So America makes a lot of its money through our music, and there are no tariffs on that. But when it comes to other countries, when they sell things to us, like one thing I read America charges a 10% tariff on a 2.5% tariff on cars made in Europe. But Europe charges a 10% tariff on American cars. And I remember in my college years, a lot of I'm telling you right now, I'm going back 25, 20 years in my memory to college and things that we talked about these tariff things a lot. Like I had some crazy ass professors in college, in poli-sci and economics, and we used to always talk about tariffs. And so now that this tariff thing is coming back up, I'm just remembering a lot of college discussions about how 20 years ago, 25 years ago, America was getting eaten alive when it came to tariffs, when it came to what we charge in tariffs versus what other countries charge. Well, that was okay when the United States was a world military power. Because we would just put most of what we have to pay, or what we make, we put it on credit. China owns a lot of our credit. A lot of countries around the world owns credit. But when you the head honcho with all the guns, you can have everything on credit. Why? Because what they gonna do? Take it? Yeah, try it. Challenge the Monroe Doctrine if you want. But now in 2025, America is no longer the head honcho in the world militarily. It still is militarily, but in China just said, 2 months ago, they're prepared to fight any kind of war that we bring to them. China got more people. Wars today are going to really be fought cyber more so than physical. And so, China America can't go around swinging its dick like it did 25, 30 years ago. So we're living in a different reality now than we were living when all of this stuff got put into place. You know, so basically America allowed these, and it's really something on now let's go into why you see so much anger and rage from the media. A major reason why you see so much anger and rage is look who the sponsors are. Look who pays for the TV commercials. The corporate world. And the corporate world has been getting a free ride on exporting our stuff, getting it made in other countries and brought back. Places like Apple, a lot of your car manufacturers, Ford and General Motors with NAFTA. A lot of these countries have been eating hot. Nike, they've been eating high off the hog, being able to get things for much, much, much cheaper down there and bring it over here for these crazy exorbitant prices. Now with these tariffs, they keep fear-mongering us and prices are going to go up. But here's the thing. People only make what they make. You can only drive prices so far north before people can't afford to pay for that stuff anymore. So, fact of the matter is, if they keep saying, okay, the price of a Honda Civic is going to go to $50,000, well, guess what? People aren't going to pay $50,000 for a Honda Civic. So what happens? They have to sell it for less, which means what? Prices go, corporate profits go down. Their profits go down. You see what I mean? Apple, they now can't make an iPhone for $10 and sell it over here for $1,500. Now, with these tariffs, it's going to make the price go up. So these corporations stand to lose a lot of money. And these corporations are the ones that buy the TV ads. And the people who buy the TV ads are the ones who influence what gets said on your media. So they're very concerned. That's why the stock market and everything is going haywire, because they understand they're trying to fearmonger us, saying, okay, everything's going to go through the roof. But the fact of the matter is, and this is the corporation's fault, they've outsourced all the fucking jobs. So Americans don't have these good paying jobs anymore to afford these price hikes. Why? Because they decided to export all the good jobs to other countries. And then for the good jobs here in America, use that M1 visa program to bring in the tech people and stuff like that. So you have all of these things, these conditions coming together. And so the people who got their money invested in the stock market real big, the big money people, this is going to mean a squeeze on their profits. And corporate America hasn't been squeezed since the 70s, since the 60s. Really, when after World War II, when Dwight Eisenhower had a 92% tax on the wealthy, it was like every dollar made like over $10 million was like taxed at like 92% or something like that. But that high tax is what built America's middle class. It's what built all the parks. It's what built the services that and things like that we have here in America, was that high tax. Well, America's cut all those taxes, and at the same time, they were allowed to outsource and send jobs to other parts of the world. So the real truth, the people who stand to lose the most are the wealthy. These major corporations that have been living high off the hog for the last 50 years, 40 years. Now the bill is coming due. And a large reason why is because America no longer is we're no longer the exclusive military power. We're at a point now to where if China calls for its debts, we be in a motherfucking fight. 30 years ago, We dropped 2 bombs on Beijing and it's over with. So China wasn't going to do that. But China has a lot of power now. So you can't you can't win by bullying anymore. The United States used to be a bully, and the United States can't bully. And then another thing, no industry here where we create things. And the next part is the chips. Remember during the pandemic when the PlayStation was sold out and all these cars and everything was messed up because of chips. Y'all remember that? Person, I don't know if you remember the whole chip scare and during the pandemic. It took about a year and a half. Cars started going up, prices started going up. That's because those chips are made in Taiwan. And those chips are very, 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 very important. They run our phones, they run our games, they run our cars, they run our computers. And for a long time, they were only made in Taiwan. And it's because of some of these moves Trump has made that now those chips are going to be made over here in America. Like President Biden had signed that CHIP Act, and the CHIP Act basically paid those Taiwanese companies to come over here to America. What Trump did was Trump was like, nah, fuck that CHIP Act. He's like, no, we're going to tariff and we're going to demand that these chips get made over here. We're going to tax you motherfuckers to smithereens. And it basically is something that's now you're about to see one of the largest chip manufacturers in the world. They're opening up a chip factory, I think, in Tennessee or Texas. Yeah, common sense is very stupid to be relying on one nation for chips. I have a flight tracker on my phone, and I can see the planes land here at LAX. Sometimes when I go outside, I can see the planes landing, and I'll be saying, do y'all know here at LAX, there's usually at least 6 to 7 to 8 cargo planes an hour coming from Taiwan and China. You can look at any time. Sometimes upwards of 15 planes. I'm talking about 747s and A380s. Some are passenger, but a lot of them hoes is cargo planes coming from China and Taiwan. I mean, I sit here on this flight tracker app and be looking at these planes coming in like a fucking nerd. And yeah, I'm an aerospace nerd. I love airplanes. I fucking love airplanes. And I'll be tracking God damn, another plane from Taiwan? Cargo? Shit. That's just LAX. We ain't including San Francisco and San Diego and Chicago and Atlanta and other parts of the country. Yeah, they're building chip factories in Arizona and Texas too, yeah. So these chip factories are now becoming a thing. You saw Apple say that they're about to build a huge campus in America. Honda is about to increase car production in America. General Motors is bringing car facilities back to the United States of America because NAFTA is basically scrapped. One thing that really, really decimated the black middle class was the American middle class in general got hit by NAFTA. But we as black people got to understand that these policies that created outsourcing, they affected us first. Last hired, first fired. These negative trade policies affected us because our jobs are the ones that they sent over to these other countries. It's a major reason why it ain't no fucking jobs. Go down here in LA, go down to Alameda and Firestone. Every Firestone tire in America used to be built right there, made right there. You had all those factories right there that supported the black LA middle class. And that's how we got lowrider culture. Started here in LA, San Diego. And that's because you had people that was employed by car manufacturing companies and military. People don't understand how important LA is to car culture. And that's something I'll be breaking down on my next documentary after I finish this gospel one. the car culture here is because, hell, the brother who invented hydraulics, he worked over here at the Northrop plane manufacturing facility, and the same hydraulics they use to extend the flaps on airplane wings, that's what he was using to put in the cars, for the high foot. You know, a lot of your car culture comes out of here is because it was so much car manufacturing here. Same with Ohio, specifically like Dayton had the AC Delco factory, but you'll notice LA, Detroit, and Ohio have a lot of similar car culture because people worked in those facilities. And when you know how black folks are, you know how we are. Nigga work somewhere, shit, let me do this shit myself on the side. You know, niggas is always side hustling. We some side hustling motherfuckers. That's one thing I love about us as black folks. We always got side hustles. And a lot of your stuff that has to do with cars and lowriders and customization basically came from niggas that was side hustling. When we had jobs that taught wood shop, machine shop. See, when we manufacture things in this country, the school had to teach machine shop, metal shop, wood shop. So you graduated high school with a lot of these skills. So now you got a job working at the manufacturer. You can get these parts. So you like shit. I got some sheet metal, and it's little. And nigga, now we about to. So it's been sweet for these corporations to eliminate our jobs and send them over there. It's been real sweet. It's been real sweet for them. Now they're about to have to pay. They're about to have to pay. Either you build the shit here and give us jobs, or robots or whatever. And if they give the robots job, cool. There's less people. That means there's less immigrants they're gonna bring in if the robots get the jobs. But before the robots get the jobs, we gonna get the jobs. Now, don't be fooled. A lot of these jobs that are coming back in the next 10 years, these warehouse jobs and these basic like assembly line jobs are all going to be robots. And Biz Marquis said, robots need niggas to turn them on. I ain't gonna lie. You ain't lying there, brother. Yeah, racism is expensive. Yeah, if robots get a job, who's gonna fix them? Us again. Yep. So a lot of these assembly line jobs and jobs are gonna be robots. You know? But still, one thing that does is it stops America from beefing up nations that are one day going to turn on America. Like, we literally beefed up China to be the United States. China is a world economic power because of the jobs that we gave them. They said we don't want these niggas to have jobs, so we rather have China get jobs. We don't want to educate black people, so we're going to create this M1 visa program to bring in Chinese, Nigerians, and Indians. And India has some of the largest, think about India. We're not even bringing in their best. The best Indians are staying in India, or they're going to China. They're not coming here. I know a brother that owns a facility, a call center that he hires a bunch of Indians. He's like, man, the best Indians came back in the 90s. Right now, we're getting their cast-offs. But India has crazy tariffs on products imported from the United States. But they could send their bullshit over here to us, and we got to pay for it. We literally beefing up these other countries. And that has to stop at some point, especially when you're no longer militarily the world head honcho. Now you got some competition around the world now. So you can't go around swinging your dick and slapping everybody like we was back in the 90s. Can't do that no more. And this goes back to the Super Bowl. Question number one, if you remember what I told y'all during the Super Bowl. I said when y'all saw Kendrick Lamar performing, I told y'all then, hit the like button. We got 540 people in here. We need 540 likes. The Super Bowl halftime show sets the agenda. It's all propaganda. Everything on TV is propaganda, even the game. And I told y'all before the Super Bowl, focus on the halftime show. Did I not? When I did my reading, I said, focus on the halftime show. That's going to be the message. And the message was what? America first. America first. I told y'all, the Super Bowl sets the agenda. And when that happened, they were telling you during the halftime show that this is all about American nationalism, America first. You can expect America first. You really got to pay attention to election shows on election years, because the Super Bowl is always right after the new president comes into office. Those Super Bowls really show you what the agenda is. And this agenda, you saw when Kendrick Lamar made his announcement. He did it, remember when he's catching the footballs? He did it in front of an American flag. That let us all know that told us then, okay, this is going to be an America first Super Bowl. Because remember, that was before he even designed the show. That shows you right there, when he made his announcement that he was going to be performing at the Super Bowl in front of the American flag, that shows you that Kendrick Lamar's assignment was to create and craft a show around America. It had nothing to do with no damn Drake beef. I hear everybody talking about something, this is Jay-Z getting back at the industry. This is Jay. Okay. Maybe on the surface level. For you surface level niggas, okay, yeah, it's Jay-Z getting back at everybody else. You think, my question is, are niggas so stupid to think that these white people are going to allow Jay-Z to have autonomy at anything? Jay-Z's a fucking Joe Camel looking ass puppet. Fake Basquiat ass nigga. He ain't got no autonomy over nothing. He was brought in because niggas was kneeling and we was protesting football, and they brought him in and say, hey, black people, we're done protesting. Let's get back to these games. And it worked. That's the extent of Jay-Z's power. Jay-Z is the face to whatever decision these white boys want to make. Now, Jay-Z, I'm pretty sure, has powerful suggestions, and I'm pretty sure he could have suggested Kendrick. I'm sure Jay-Z could have suggested Kendrick and about 4 or 5 other people too. But these white boys are gonna choose who the fuck they want to choose, and this show was American themed. This is all propaganda, people. All this shit's a play. All of it. They needed an artist that can pull off an America First show. And if this was the early 2000s, the 90s, they would have probably had a country act do it. They would have had Kid Rock. They would have had Waylon Jennings or Willie Nelson. If this was the 90s, it would have been a country act or some kind of act like that. Reba McEntire or Dolly Parton or some shit to do it. But the times have changed. Like, white America is dying out, as you can see. How often do you see like just a purebred white boy under the age of 50 these days? Yeah, it would have been Bruce Springsteen back in the 80s and the 90s, in the early 2000s. It would have been one of them. But they're dying out, and they could have done Post Malone, but he's corny. They know he's just all propaganda. He's all push. They know at the end of the day, Post Malone's corny. Taylor Swift, she's not deep enough. You know, they could have had Taylor Swift, but she's popcorn. She's she's rainbow popcorn. That's what she is. You know, so yeah, they couldn't do ZZ Top no more. So, and then you had the Eagles and the Chiefs of the land versus the American Patriot, the Eagle. The Eagle's American symbol. First capital of America is Philadelphia. And when Philadelphia was the capital of America, you had black vice presidents, you've had black leadership in America in the days that Philadelphia was the capital of the United States. You had John Hint. You had what's his name? I'm drawing blanks to the names, but because I want to lose my train of thought. John Henson and Benjamin Banneker is basically the brainchild of America. It's the most prolific scientific mind of America. He designed the city of Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. And at the same time, there's a movement of black people recognizing who we are and our native ancestry here in the United States of America. So when it came time to picking an artist to put off an America First show, not only is it because Kendrick's hot, Kendrick is a cold motherfucker with the visuals. You see his music videos? The whole PG Lane team, when it comes to crafting images and using imagery in a powerful manner, Kendrick's he's number ace boom cool on the block of any race. You had to have someone with the discipline to pull off the show. Do you think Lil Wayne could have done that? Lil Wayne's a fucking idiot. Great music, but a fucking idiot. He couldn't do no America First propaganda going, yeah. He would have had some songs that we all like, but he couldn't pull off no America First propaganda like that. That's just what it is. And at the same time, Kendrick is the most prolific artist on the planet right now. Both with his pen and with his visuals. Said Wayne would have passed out. Y'all stupid. So you had to hire the artist that can carry out the agenda. And the agenda was to have a Super Bowl halftime show that's going to show everyone what direction America is headed. And that is in the direction of American nationalism, American tribalism. It's time. You see they're kicking all the immigrants out. It's time for the people that's going to stay to get on code with America. America has allowed people from other nationalities to come here, and for the most part, over the last 50 years, allowed them to keep their nationality. That's new. America's always got its immigrants on code. With the Germans in the 1800s, they'll allow them to sort of, and they use wars and things like that to do it. If you look at the period between like 1890, the 1900s, 1880, when they start bringing in all those immigrants, they had like the populist revolution of the 1890s, where blacks and whites were coming together. And then they switched things up and they start bringing in, around the turn of the century, all those Greeks and Italians and all those people. And they put them over in ghettos. And they used World War I to put the ones that were already in town here on code to certain level. Movies like Birth of a Nation came out. They use Hollywood and World War One to get everybody on the code of anti-blackness here in America. And then when World War II came, that's when they got all of these people who were new to America on code. The first thing they did was they gave them jobs. You had the Great Depression, and to come out the Great Depression, they built the manufacturing. That's when Roosevelt created that wartime economy in the 1930s, early 40s. But really in the 30s, when they shut everything down, they turned all the car manufacturing places into manufacturing machines. They started to fill out the West, Denver, LA, with these wartime places, jobs. And what that did was that then took the Greeks, the Italians, the Irish, and they went from being ethnics to whites. In the 1800s and early 1900s, those other non-Anglo-Saxon Europeans were known as ethnics. They weren't known as white. The wartime economy of World War II put them together, and that got America on code, and it brought everybody into whiteness. And that's when they started building the suburbs. But since the 60s and really into the 80s, you start getting a lot of Africans, Indians, and other groups of non-white people into America. Latin American explosion, immigration. And they were all allowed to keep their languages, and America actually bent the knee to them. Bill Clinton in the 90s, it's a major move Bill Clinton made in the 90s, and he made it a federal mandate. He signed an executive order that made it to where all federal jobs and paperwork had to be written in multiple languages, specifically Spanish and Mandarin. So, America bent the knee and made it easier for these people that are non-white, non-black to be here. Now it's time to get everybody on code, free ride over. So what does Trump do? He signs an executive order making English a national language. Appreciate that, Aries. But people were wondering why. I saw a lot of people literally saying on my Facebook and Twitter, like, I already thought that English was the national language. No, fool. That's why when you call in the places, they ask you if you want to speak English, number one, Spanish, number two. America allowed these people to come in to lift them up. Now that they've been elevated and lifted, it's time to get on code and with America. I got another Aries in here. What's up, Aries? The other Aries, respect to you too. What's up to the public? Respect to you, brother. Respect. But, and I'm sorry, chat room. I want to talk to y'all. I want to look at the chat more, but I'm kind of in my head. I'm trying to keep my stream of consciousness going on because I'm just putting a lot of things together because I've always loved studying geopolitics. Appreciate the Cash App, Mogul Maze. Like I told y'all before in LA, I don't know which gang is on what street, but I do know which politician covers which zone. But so back to what we're talking about. So all of these, there's a lot of converging factors going on right now. It's not an easy story to explain, The converging factors of outsourcing too many jobs outside this country, American racism, them targeting Black Americans, so they hating us so much, taking our education from us, taking our jobs from us. They literally put money in the pockets of their enemies. They put all that money in the pocket of China, and then what did China do? They went and teamed with Russia, not us. And even the whole Russia conflict, we have to understand that the United States is 95% responsible, 90% responsible for that conflict. Great Britain is probably 90, the other 5%, and Russia the other 5%. That's been us basically bullying them since World War II. Russia took 90% of the casualties in World War II. Russia won World War II, not the United States. The United States did the LeBron James. They let everybody else do all the work, and then the United States came in at the end with our flying airplanes and videos and propaganda and dropped a few bombs and then dropped a bomb on Hiroshima and took all the credit. The United States, LeBron James, World War II. When Dwayne Wade did all the work to get you there, LeBron James get a couple of highlight blocks and dunks, and he gets all the credit. You know, that's what the United States did with Russia in World War II. Russia put in all the work. They took all the casualties. They put in all the work. And the United States didn't hardly do shit but come in towards the end, storm the beach in Normandy, Tuskegee Airmen. And what they did do is the black Tuskegee Airmen that did most of the aerial work, like as far as not getting fucked up. So when the Marshall Plan hit after World War II, the Marshall Plan was a plan to rebuild the victims of World War II. And the Marshall Plan gave the United States, England, France, Europe all the money. And when they were about to give Russia the money, the United States stepped in and was like, don't give them shit, basically. Japan, think about this. Japan attacked the United States in Pearl Harbor, and they got more recovery money from World War II than Russia, and Russia was 90% responsible for winning the war. How does the country that attacked us get more money than the country that won the fucking war? And that's where the United States, that's why you had the Cold War between the United States and Russia. That's where the Cold War began. We hated on their money, on the money that they didn't get to rebuild. So for everybody talking about reparations, the reason why Japan recovered and Russia didn't was because of reparations. And then what the United States also did, not only did Japan get the reparations money from the war, when they started to when the economies around the world were recovering, what they did to help sustain Japan's economy was the United States and Germany, basically, they allowed Japan to become the new Germany. They demilitarized Japan, took away their army, and said the United States is now responsible for protecting Japan. And Japan became the place that all of your electronics, all of the different secrets on how to build electronics, all of that got outsourced to Japan. That's why when you get to the 1960s, you're starting to see Sony and Panasonic and all these companies in Japan. That's because there was a post-World War II agreement to put electronics and that kind of stuff in the hands of Japan. The United States could have done it, but know what would have happened if the United States kept that? Black people would have gotten those jobs. So America is hell-bent on keeping us out of all this shit. So they said, instead of giving these jobs to niggas, let's make Japan the place that the electronics go. And so that's where you get Motorola, Sony, Panasonic, and all of these, the Japanese auto industry, Honda, Toyota. That because Japan became responsible for that. And Japan in the 1960s, they got commissioned with making, in the 60s and 70s, Japan got commissioned with making electronic versions of American instruments. So that's why you get the drum machines, and a lot of the earlier keyboards, the Rhodes was made here in the United States. Roland made things here in the United States. But after the United States got the electronic instruments started, they basically outsourced those jobs to Japan. And so Rhodes and all these other companies, you had some stuff that stayed here in the United States, but that stuff got outsourced to Japan. And Japan got tasked with making electronic duplicates of Black American instrumentation. And out of that, you get the genre of music called J-pop. J-pop became a really big thing in the 70s. And then they hadn't quite, Korea was still kind of in the darks of things, South Korea, so K-pop hadn't come out yet, but the first Asian form of Black American music was J-pop. You had like a lot of bands that was trying to sound like Earth, Wind & Fire, trying to sound like, and Japan paid a lot of money for Black American musicians to go over there to Japan to teach music at the University of Japan. So a lot of your music producers from the 70s, when the 80s came, when American music stopped producing live music, a lot of your great American composers went and taught at universities in Japan and over in Korea. And us Black people going to Japan and Korea is what gave rise to their J-pop and K-pop music genres. And so that's how, see, there's a lineage as to how all these things happened and started. And we teaching that right now. Again, hit the like button, y'all. Hit the like button. And then make sure y'all go to intellectualpower.net. Get my product, type in my product code Deep Brown for 10% off your intellectual power. If you want to be able to recall shit the way I do, hit that intellectual power up. It helps me out a ton. Also, peace pads and the links in the description. And the Reproductive Health event here in Compton on May 3rd. But so back to what we're talking about. So so all of these factors are playing in. America basically over the last 40 years, when it outsourced things, it had to give these other countries an economic leg up. They had to make it profitable for them. But what's happened is now the economy's changed, it's shifted, and so balance needs to be brought to the equation. Balance needs to be brought to the equation, right? And so now Trump has a plan of reciprocal tariffs. Trump has a plan for reciprocal tariffs. Like, okay, you guys have gone wild. Like, it's some stuff that places like India is charging like 100% tariff on the shit that they bring in from America. Places like India, China, a lot of places in Europe, NAFTA was never fair. Bill Clinton really fucked us up, man. We don't understand how bad the Bill Clinton presidency was for the rank and file American. Democrat and Republican, white and black. I mean, I'm talking about United States of America. Not Bill Clinton was great for people who were, and I'm not saying this with any disrespect at all, so please do not take this with disrespect. But Bill Clinton was great for anybody who was an anchor baby. He was great for people who were new to this country, and he was great for other countries. Bill Clinton was great for corporations. But the rank and file, non-corporate, United States of American, traced their ancestry back to the 1800s in America, Bill Clinton was bad for all of them, white and black. Because that NAFTA thing, that gutted American jobs. NAFTA didn't gut the jobs that they were bringing in immigrants. They were bringing in immigrants to go into the nursing field, the medical field, the tech field, the labor field, picking cherries and shit. They brought immigrants in for those jobs. They didn't bring immigrants in for the jobs at AC Delco in Dayton, Ohio, and Detroit. Those was our jobs. And Bill Clinton with NAFTA took those jobs to the rank and file American, white and black, in Michigan, Ohio, LA, and California, all throughout the Midwest. The jobs that made the Midwest economically viable. Bill Clinton took that shit out. I might have to do a show, The Cost of Clinton. Because not only did Bill Clinton do that, he then turned around and signed the 96 Telecommunications Act. So that basically made it to where the corporations took over radio and TV. So you only have 2 or 3 companies controlling all radio, all TV. So what did that do? The quality of our movies has gone down. Think about it, people. Let's think about the movie industry. When was the last great comedy? When was the last great comedy movie? Remember back in the 80s, we had Naked Gun, Police Academy, Robin Hood, Men in Tights. You was good for a Mel Brooks film. You was good for an Eddie Murphy film. They don't even want us to laugh. And then when you look at the comedies of the 2000s and the 2000s, they sucked. Will Ferrell comedies suck. They're just fucking stupid. Kevin Hart, that's a major departure from Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. Kevin Hart, just stupid ass idiot comedy. And no disrespect to Kevin Hart, he employs a lot of black people, but his comedy's dumb. Will Ferrell comedy is stupid. What's the other dude? Adam Sandler and what's the other white boy? Pineapple Express, Seth Rogen. Even when we were getting comedy in the 2000s, it was like Seth Rogen and Kevin Hart, and that shit wasn't funny. It was just stupid. Yeah, Medea. No more, like, Caddyshack was a funny, like, Caddyshack was a good movie, and it was funny as hell. The Naked Gun movies, it would be 3 to 4 funny things in every scene. With the dialogue is funny, then it'd be something going on in the background that's funny. 2 things going on in the background that's funny. It would be like every time you watch a Naked Gun, you got something new to laugh at. They don't make comedies that intelligent anymore. Y'all remember in the 90s when you had all the good the last time you seen black people portrayed the right way was in the 90s. That's when you had a range. You had the gangster movies like Colors, and Boys in the Hood was the only accurate hood movie. Out of all the hood movies, Boys in the Hood was the only accurate one. And maybe New Jack City. But you had the gangster films, New Jack City, Boys in the Hood, Juice. But you also had the love films like Boomerang. You had Distinguished Gentlemen. You had later in the late 90s, Brown Sugar, The Best Man. There was a range of, you got to see us in ourselves. But in the 2000s, it got dumb. Lawrence Jones said, back to school. Back to school. Them Rodney Dangerfield movies in the 80s, dog. Back to school, nigga. When he was making the triple Lindy, nigga. But Bill Clinton signing the Telecommunications Act. What that did was all of those different films, New Line Cinema, Lionsgate. Remember how you had all those different houses making movies? They basically all got bought up by Disney and Fox. ABC got bought up by Disney. NBC got bought up by Universal. Then you got CBS, Showtime, and all that shit. And then you got the Fox. And now Disney bought Fox. They're about to close the Fox lot down on Pico. So when you cut out all of those different movie houses, you monopolize what gets put out. And since then, we don't even get comedy no more, yo. Think about that. We get movies with men dressed like women, all kind of dick sucking going on. You get Lena Waithe looking like a boy and Cynthia Erivo looking like Predator 2. But we can't get another Friday? Come on. That's just the movies. Let's talk about the music. All of the different radio stations that got bought up. Radio's no longer beholden to local listeners because it's now corporate owned. So the corporations don't, matter of fact, they hope the radio stations take a loss so they can write that off as a loss against the other companies making exorbitant amounts of cash. They need some losses. So let's make the radio suck so we can take some losses over here so we can keep more of our money. Kick all the black DJs off of radio stations. Yeah, girl boss movies and shit like that. That was Clinton. What Clinton did with the crime bill, throwing all them black people in prison, that was Clinton. Clinton was bad for the rank and file American. Clinton was horrible for the rank and file American. And right now, things things only go in 180 degrees, only go 180 degrees before it has to spin back. Everything in life is 360. Everything is 360. A triangle is 360 degrees, a circle, a square, a rhombus, a pyramid, everything, a box. Everything's 360 degrees. Things can only go 180 degrees in one particular direction before it has to circle back to its original. Remember that. Everything that happens on Earth must fall in alignment with the laws of nature. Everything falls back in alignment with the laws of nature. And so now a balancing act must happen. And this isn't when it comes to my politics, if you ask me, my politics are apolitical. I don't care about none of these parties. I think they both hate us, Republicans, Democrats. I don't play that party line bullshit. Somebody coming in, and I want to say thank you for the chat. So far, the people I've been reading in the chat haven't been saying no dumb shit like, "Are you a Trump supporter?" I want to say salute to the chat for not being stupid and for listening. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for not being a bunch of fucking idiots. Because it's not about supporting Trump. It's just really talking about, where we are. And Trump is doing a very necessary thing. Not to say he's not being a bonehead in other areas. Trump is making many a bonehead moves, from my opinion. But this tariff thing isn't one of them. This tariff thing isn't one of them. He's doing a lot of bonehead shit that I don't agree with. But this tariff thing, this isn't one of them. This is something that is necessary. Because like I said, going back to college, I remember when go on ChatGPT and then ask ChatGPT or whatever your AI is, America's tariffs levied against the United States of America by foreign countries. Go look that up. Just look it up. Tariffs levied against the United States by other countries. And you will see, like, God damn, these people are really putting the foot up our ass. Do they hate us? God damn. Like, and the United States has allowed it to happen, but now the United States is on a different position than we were in the 90s. And what these tariffs are going to do in the short term, yes, some prices will go up. Yes, some industries will most definitely suffer. No change happens without pain. No change happens without pain. So these places aren't, these news outlets aren't lying when they say Americans are going to suffer. They're telling the truth, but they're telling you a half truth, because Americans are going to suffer in the short term. Some. We as Black Americans, we always in position to suffer, so we gonna be straight because we've been here before. We'll be fine. As long as Black people stay out of this fight. Will things get tight? Yes. But we know how to turn a dollar out of, we know how to make a dollar out of 15 cents. This is where we gotta trust ourselves. This is the reason why I teach so much culture and history, is to remind us how dope we are. And to remind us that no matter what we see going on, we are the people that know how to make a dollar out of 15 cents. So yeah, it'll be fucked up. But we're the people who know how to just, okay, there's no money here to be made. Okay, cool. Let me invent something. Let me invent a new form of music. Let's invent a new this to monetize. The only thing we got to be conscious of is just monetizing what we invent. That's all. We'll be fine. Every culture is not blessed. That's one of our gifts. That's why we've been able to survive in America. America would have been done with us 100 years ago if they could have been. So it's going to be struggle. It's not going to be all peaches and cream, but we'll be fine. I know that. Because we make a dollar out of 15 cents. You remember this? Let's tell the story of Cadillac. Cadillac survived the Great Depression. Black people saved Harley Davidson after World War I. Black people saved Cadillac during World War II. Y'all know that? When we saved Cadillac and Lincoln during World War II, was because during the Depression, and let me know if I'm breaking up, because I need some weed. I need to roll some weed, so hopefully I don't break up while I'm in here. I'm gonna go back out there, but I need to roll some weed. Let me know if I break up. Let me know if I break up. But matter of fact, I'm rolling this weed on the hood of my car so I can be closer to my Wi-Fi signal. I'm rolling this weed on the hood of my car, so I'm not back all the way here. But America, where was I at? I was about to tell y'all a story. I lost my train. I was about to tell y'all a story. Ooh, look at that. Ooh. Oh, yeah, Cadillac. There you go. see my phone right here. Y'all hear me, right? I'll tell y'all a story of Cadillac. Look at that nigga. Woo, shit. Tell y'all a story of Cadillac. Black America saved Cadillac in the 1930s because during the Depression, you know, there was no money and no one was buying cars and Cadillacs and stuff. But what they found was during the Great Depression, not saying black folks were peachy cream, but black people were doing a lot better than a lot of your white people. And why? Because black people's monies weren't in the banks. We weren't allowed to have bank accounts. So when the economic crash happened, when the Depression happened and that crash happened, black people weren't as affected because our money wasn't in the bank. So Cadillac saw that during the Depression, they could still sell Cadillacs to us. And a lot of people didn't want to sell Ford in those places. They didn't want to sell to blacks. Cadillac opened up the market to black Americans. And it was black Americans that saved Cadillac in the 1930s because black Americans didn't get their money taken from them like that during the Great Depression because we weren't allowed to be in banking anyway. You see how that works? You see how that works? So the reason your granddaddy bought a Cadillac or a Lincoln is because Cadillac first, Lincoln second, saw that during the Great Depression, there was still a market for black people and selling those cars. We saved Cadillac. During the Depression. You hear me? Did y'all know that? I know some of y'all did. Oh, shit. Hold on. There we go. So I'm saying that when I say things like, I know that we'll be fine, it's because I know that we'll be fine. And they don't tell you these little nuggets of knowledge about who we are in history on the news. They'll never tell you about how we will do in this country, realistically. You dig what I'm saying? Hold on. Like John Henry Clark said, all history is a current event. All history is a current event. And if you want to understand where you are now, just pay attention to where you come from. Yeah, that's why Cadillacs are always tied to black people. Because we saved Cadillac. Because we was the only people that had money to buy Cadillacs. Some of the only people. Same story can be told about Harley Davidson motorcycles in World War I. White people use, they bought what was that, Red Wing? No, the Indian motorcycles, Indian motorcycle company. White people, their motorcycle, they used the Indian motorcycle company. It was black people buying Harleys. White people bought Indians. We were the ones that were customizing these Harley Davidson motorcycles during that time. We saved Harley Davidson. And going back to India, do you know that India charges 100% tariffs on Harley Davidson motorcycles? Y'all know that? It was black people that popularized choppers, motorcycles. The choppers, that was black. It's a black people motorcycle. Yeah. India charges 100% tariffs on Harley Davidson motorcycles. And people are going around talking about Trump, saying we're going to make it reciprocal. Think about it. If other countries lower their tariffs on us, that means we can sell more product in other countries. And if that product is made here in the United States, guess what that means? More jobs for American citizens. But the media got you afraid of tariffs. You see how the media works? I remember back in the 90s when I was a kid, the media had us supporting NAFTA. We were doing like reports. We were doing like little reports in middle school, in elementary school in middle school on how the North American Free Trade Agreement is going to help America. I remember doing reports on that when I was in like the seventh grade. When really NAFTA was one of the worst things that ever happened to us as a country. NAFTA is a major reason why Hillary Clinton didn't get elected. These same Democrats and people, left-leaning media that's trying to get you to hate these tariffs are the same people that didn't want to admit to you that NAFTA is the reason why Hillary didn't get elected in 2016. That was the reason why she lost Michigan. Hillary had issues in Michigan and Ohio because of NAFTA. Wisconsin, those swing states that Trump won was because those swing states had a bone to pick with Hillary over NAFTA. Everybody remembers mommy and daddy lost their job in 1997, 96 because of your policies, because of your husband's policies. That's why she that's why she had issues in those parts of the country. She got pinned with her husband's laws because she was also somebody who went out there on the road and used her powers as first lady to sway the political opinions of people. Yeah, get the likes up. 550 in here, 300 likes. Let's go. We need 500 likes. And make sure, even if you leave early, come back after the video and leave a comment after the video. Please, that helps me out a ton if you guys leave a comment after the video. It helps push it up in the algorithm. Appreciate y'all. So we have to understand that the media had us loving NAFTA when that really hurt us on so many levels and got you hating these tariffs that are only meant to help you out. Trump saying, let's go into Trump and the TikTok thing. This is something else I learned. I forgot the name of this I had two really good political science teachers in college. And I remember both of their faces, and I don't remember neither one of their names. They was white. But they were great. When I was in Santa Monica College, this was my junior college years before I went and got my 4-year degree at Cal State Northridge. When I was in junior college at Santa Monica Junior College, I had two professors that both taught at UCLA. They taught halftime at Santa Monica. That's why everybody would go to Santa Monica College here in LA, because I thought I wanted to go to UCLA. A lot of your professors at Santa Monica College also taught at UCLA, some at USC. But my two political science teachers both taught at UCLA. And I remember we would have these great class discussions. And this is when 9/11 happened. That same semester, 2001, fall semester, 9/11 happens. We used to have some like these roundtable discussions in class, talking about world events and stuff like that. And I remember we were talking about this whole tariff situation, and how one day America is going to have to either gradually get a more fair trade partnership with these other countries, or it's going to come a time to where it's going to happen abruptly and it's going to shake things up. I had this discussion in class 24 years ago, and it's like kind of like what we're seeing now is something that we used to always talk about in class. And I'm like, yo, I really did have a dope education. I have more of a appreciation for it now than I did then. And the truth, anyone who knows this channel knows that when I graduated college, I felt like I got hustled. I really felt like I got hustled the day I graduated. Like, man, I got hustled. Man, I could have been making money. What the fuck is this? Looking back, I had a dope education, because some of the stuff that we talked about in class over 20 years ago, it's like right now we're living history right now with Trump. This whole shit that Trump is doing, we're in a moment of extremely, extremely, extremely important historical times. You can't focus on the media. You got to focus on the games that's being played. It's like you got to watch the game and not the player. If you only focus on the quarterback, you miss the game that's being played. The quarterback isn't what wins the game. It's what the offensive line is control of the defensive line, what the receivers on the opposite side of the field are doing. It's those movements that makes the plays happen. In basketball, it's watching the weak side, it's watching the court. You don't just watch the guy with the ball. You watch the guy setting the back screen. You watch the pin downs. You watch the screen. You watch the cuts. You watch the motion. And it's the motion that is happening away from the ball that creates the floor spacing for the ball to go in the basket. No different than music. You focus on the guy singing, but it's the drummer and the bass player locking in, keeping the tempo right. It's the keyboard and the horns and the guitar that's providing the rhythm to make you bob your head. When all the musicians you're not looking at are in sync, it creates a platform for the lead singer to sing whatever they're singing, that song that you like. But if that bass player is off, if that drummer's playing out of tempo, if that keyboard player is playing in the wrong key, nothing else works. You gotta watch the bandstand, not the singer. And all I'm talking about right now is I just want everybody to look at the stage. Don't look at the singer, look at the stage. Don't look at the point guard, look at the game. It's the game that we're watching right now. We're watching the game. And Trump is doing things that hurts people who've been winning the game. And the people I say win the game hurts these corporations again who've had exorbitant profits unchecked. The reason why United States tariffs stay so low is so these major corporations can make exorbitant profits that they're not passing along to me and you. So yeah, they're going to scare us and say, hey, it's going to cost $60,000 for a Chevy Cavalier. Well, guess what? Nobody's paying $60,000 for a Chevy Cavalier. So Chevy's going to have to lower the price to where people are going to pay, and they're going to have to eat the loss. They can raise, remember how they always say if you raise minimum wage to $25 an hour, the price of a Big Mac's going to go to $10. What happened? Let's go back 2 years ago. What happened when in McDonald's? I don't eat at McDonald's no more. I ain't gonna lie though, I still want a Big Mac like a motherfucker. I just can't eat that shit no more. I don't sleep good when I eat McDonald's. It's like I'm eating all the world's problems and I have nightmares and shit. Just, I don't know. They put in that fake ass meat. But I remember them complaining that in some places, combo meals was like $15. What happened? People stopped going to fucking McDonald's. People are now eating at home. What did McDonald's have to do? Bring back the fucking dollar menu. Am I lying? Pay attention. You cannot let them scare you with what happened. Yeah, here in California, the eggs went through the roof. Guess what happened? The eggs are back down to normal price. Because what happened? People stopped buying fucking eggs. You guys in Georgia eggs, but here in California, eggs that went through the roof. I mean, me and the wife was at Costco. When Costco refilled on eggs, that line was through the parking lot at Inglewood Costco. We was there for some other shit to get the tire fixed. I was like, God damn, why is the line at the parking lot? They're like, it's egg day. The eggs just came in. Well, it was like 2 or 3 months ago. But what happened? Those fools were buying eggs, but most people just said, fuck it. We just not going to eat no fucking eggs. Y'all want to charge $15 for a crate of eggs? Fine. We're just not going to eat any. And a couple months later, they had to bring the eggs back down to the right fucking price. Jacoby, I appreciate the super chat. He said, when you think about it, they lied to us. For example, paid $15.99 for iPhone 14, 1 terabyte in 2023. Phone not even made in the United States. They charge like it's made in the U.S. Right. Appreciate you. That's right, Jacoby. The iPhone, they treat like it was made here. See, the corporations done fuck theyself. They kept wages stagnant for the last 40 years. They've sent prices through the roofs. They've won on tariffs. I mean, not no tariffs, or little tariffs, I should say. Outsourcing has made them exorbitant amounts of money. Now, they can threaten all they want about the price of something. But Americans don't have no fucking jobs. You got a few people with a lot of money. Most Americans don't have $1,000 in savings. Rents through the roof. So where does that come back to? It falls back on the corporations. You can't charge what you charge. But these are the people that's buying all the TV ads for your favorite news stations. These are the people buying all the print ads on your newspapers or the pop-ups on your favorite websites. So guess what? He who pays, plays. So they get to influence your media to scare the fuck out of you. Because They don't want to eat this shit. So they're going to scare all of you into saying, oh, these tariffs, these tariffs, these tariffs. And let's not get it twisted. There's more economic bullshit on the way, but it's not going to be because of the tariffs. They're making it seem like the tariffs so they can scapegoat Trump. And again, this isn't a pro-Trump message, but Trump is doing a lot of things to undermine the establishment right now. And it's a lot of debts that the United States owe. It's a lot of paying the piper that the United States is going to have to do real soon. It's just time. You can't keep this bullshit ass game going on forever. And now these next 6 years between now and 2030, I read it before in my cards. This is gonna be we're in a very rough patch between now. This whole decade is about to be real rough. This decade is gonna be rough. Lots of up and downs, more downs than ups. But we as a people, we're gonna be fine. Only thing we need to worry about is keeping our focus on reparations. And if, for me personally, reparations is my political agenda, and if someone doesn't reflect that, then that's fine. I don't need to participate politically. Black people, we should only participate politically when they've gotten a lot of these economic policies off on our backs. We've been their excuse. The Democrats have gotten away with playing down for the common American because they'd have a black person, a black mayor here, a black attorney general there, a black president, quote unquote, there and here, and they've used our face to really fuck us over, man. The black face is being used to fuck over America. Think about that, black people. Non-black people, white people, they have a right to be mad at black people. I'm not gonna say they don't have a right, they do. We've allowed our face to be used for a lot of things that fucked over a lot of America. The black face is for the trans rights. The black face is for the immigrant rights. The black face is for the money in the war money going to the Ukraine. It's always some nigga that got to fall on the sword for some other agenda. Ain't none of this shit benefited us. But it's always a nigga, the main one, talking about this shit. That's why it's best that we just pull back. Let them do what they're gonna do what they want to do anyway. You niggas be out in front of the camera. Look at Cory Booker, old goofy ass. Cory Booker's FBA. He ain't even one of the foreigners. Cory Booker, goofy ass, just spent 25 hours filibustering just to fall in line with Israel 2 days later. Fuck out of here, nigga. Filibuster, all you gotta do is, you ain't gotta speak anymore to filibuster. That was all performative bullshit. You had Cory Booker talking for 25 hours, didn't say a motherfucking thing about reparations or anything that's gonna specifically help black people. Just goofy. Just a goofy ass nigga. Like I told you before, Cory Booker looked like the kind of person that play that hoop in sweats. And I ain't talking about no Nike sweats either, them Russell Athletic sweats. I don't trust no nigga that hoop in Russell Athletic sweats. He like the kind of nigga that hoop in Russell Athletic sweats and some fucking Skechers. Goofy ass nigga. Cory Booker, the nigga that hit step on the court and all he do is foul on defense and he can't hit an open shot. Y'all ever hoop with them niggas? I don't hoop no more, but back when I used to hoop. I used to hate hooping with that nigga that was on the court just for the workout. Cory Booker let the nigga that just hoop for the work. I'm just here to get a good cardio in. Well, nigga, we trying to win. Get the fuck, don't pick that nigga. He can't shoot. Nigga can't shoot. He gonna miss 60% of his layups. He hooping in some Russell Athletic sweats and Skechers and a headband and wristbands. I'm just here for the cardio. Fuck out of here, nigga. I used to hate that shit because you have 2 or 3 teams waiting, and you know if you lose, well, I was good when I played, so usually somebody picked me up if I lost. But if the nigga that's next didn't know me, I'm a fat nigga, so people who didn't know me, they would never pick me. But anybody who was a regular at that gym or at Westchester Park, they knew to pick me. Because they're like, yeah. Now you new niggas to the park, yeah, don't pick the wine, yeah, new nigga. But anybody who was established at the gym, established at the park, Marine Park, El Segundo Park, Dorsey High School, Westchester Park, it's a wrap, I'm on the court. But if it was some new nigga, he didn't pick me. So I would have to wait 3 or 4 games. I'm not trying to wait 3 or 4 games. I want to stay on the court. So do not pick this Cory Booker looking motherfucker on the squad. We gonna lose. So yeah. Cory fucking Booker. Corny Booker. So yeah, we wild. Yeah, Rosario. Whatever happened to Rosario Dawson being his girlfriend and his homeboy T-Bone? Remember the guy, the drug dealer T-Bone that he talked about? That nigga Cory Booker look like he drink apple juice with 2 hands. Fuck that nigga. But and long story short, that's what it is. Tomorrow, I think I'm gonna review interview that Lonzo from the Worldwide Wrecking Crew did on B Real's channel. Next time we live. I've just been busy as fuck, man. So I ain't been able to come to y'all earlier in the day, but if I don't come to y'all, come with y'all in the morning tomorrow. I'll be back late here on the phone. But for real, just don't fall for the hype. They want your fear. Don't give them your fear. And I'm not going to cover that Carmelo Anthony situation. There are enough channels out there covering that. You know, if you want to go know more about that Carmelo Anthony situation with that brother that stabbed that white kid, there are enough channels covering that. I'm not going to cover it. I just, I'm at a different place in my life, and I'm not telling you guys where you need to be, but I just understand that they use these murders to harness our energy, and I believe I did donate, and please, like, I'm not telling you what to do. I donated for that brother's defense, but I'm not going to talk about it. Somebody said, don't tell me you're scared. I'm not scared of shit. But nigga, if you already got places to go listen to it, what the fuck you need my attention, my input for? My channel isn't information porn. I talk about what's pertinent to me and what I feel needs to be shared. And I think it's other people who are going to go far more investigative than me on that topic. I'm not going to investigate that topic. I can't investigate black suffering. I understand that we live in a system of white supremacy, and the way this system works, these things are going to keep happening as long as this system is intact. And we dismantle this system through black empowerment. They could only stand on your backs if you're bent over. And black people, we stay bent over. That's why everybody's on our fucking back. My point of view is once we stand up, we don't have to kill nobody. We ain't got to fight nobody. All we got to do is stand up and know who we are, know what we got. And when we stand up, they can't be supreme. They can't have a system where they're on our backs anymore. People could only be on your back when you're bent over. And we definitely bent over right now. That's the fucking truth. If you want evidence, let Andrew Schultz say something bad about a black man, and then, or let a black man say something bad about LeBron James, and see who black men rally around. Did I spill the tea? Just pay attention. Who do black men rally around? LeBron James or black women? Michael Jordan or black children? That's evidence that we're bent over. That's the evidence. Welcome, Lori and Nandi as my new moderators. Appreciate y'all. And that's just being true. That's just being real. That's just being real. I don't believe in lying to myself, lying to us. Talk about Michael Jordan, talk about a black child, and see who we rally around. We fucked right now. But when we stand up, these Carmelo Anthony situations, these Trayvon Martin situations, they can't get to us. I told y'all before, I checked out of Eric Garner. When I saw Eric Garner get choked out, I couldn't do it anymore. It was fucking my head up so much. I had a therapist at the time. I had a white therapist. I was going through depression at the time when Eric Garner got choked out. And I told my therapist about the situation and how it was hurting me. And she was like, "What do you mean? The police choked? What happened to the police?" I said, "They got away with it." She was like, "Huh? What do you..." Like, she was like from Romania, but she was still white. She's like, "What do you mean?" Like, I spent half my therapy session talking to my counselor about how real this shit is. And I was like, God, I ended up counseling my counselor. That's when I realized, one, if I'm gonna do therapy, I need a black therapist. Two, I can't allow that to occupy my mental space anymore. And everybody comes to this realization in their own time. 12 Years a Slave was the last slave movie that I watched. And I'm glad I did now, because looking back, it took me down. That's why I know so much information about free black society in the 1800s, because of 12 Years a Slave. It had me investigating, free black people to that time. And you find that Solomon Northup was actually a real person, and he was one of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands possibly, that were free black people that were captured into slavery and sold down to the South. But another story. But 12 Years a Slave was my last slave movie I watched, and Eric Garner was the last time I allowed a black person getting mistreated to capture my emotions. But I can't preach to you guys and tell you guys when you should do this. You got to come to this realization in your own time. So when it comes to this Carmelo Anthony situation, I see the amount of rage and energy he's putting out. And thank God I saw that his legal fund now crossed like 200,000. That's dope. He'll get a fighting chance with some good, long as the people do right by him on the GoFundMe and get him the right legal representation. But outside of that, I'm not going to get into the details of that story. And if I'm not going to get into the details of that story, I would be shortchanging you guys on reporting on it. because I'm not gonna find out the details. I don't care about. I was on the phone. I was on the phone with Dr. Short this morning, and he was telling me about that a little bit about that case, and I even had to yell. I even had to tell Dr. Short, like, he was telling me some details. I was like, you know, I love Dr. Short. We talk. Me and Dr. Short, we talk regularly. You know, not regularly, but we talk semi regularly. Even when we're not talking here, and I just like, Dr. Short, you know, with respect, please don't tell me any details about this story. I don't really care to hear about how many times he stabbed that other kid, and I just and he stopped. And Dr. Short got respect. He stopped. You know, we talked about something else, but he was giving me some details, and I was just like, I don't want to know. Yeah, Cashmere Moore. I've never seen Roots either. Never will. So yeah, pray for the young man. But if you want to see details, I'm sure Tariq is gonna have great details on that. Tariq is always getting down to it. I'm sure, you know, other black channels, you know, channels I don't watch anymore, I'm sure that they'll have, and some of them I still do. But even a lot of that stuff, I had to back away from a lot of that stuff. I was staying too angry, and I'm not telling you guys again. I'm not telling you guys what to do, what not to do. Do not listen to me when if I stop listening to a particular channel, whatever, it's because that's what I needed at that time. You know, like I used to listen to. There was a time I couldn't miss TBA or Professor Black Truth. There was a time that I couldn't miss them too. You know, but you know, I got the message. We're in the system of white supremacy, you know, and the way I work, I don't work well out of anger. Some people do. I don't. I work well from when my mind is relaxed. That's when I'm at my most creative and most constructive. So I had to pull back on listening to something that kept keeping me angry, you know? The same way I don't, you know, and I still check in, you know. I still check in every now and again, depending on the story. But I'm just not in the space anymore where I can stay in that space. Did they take breaks on the Runaway Slave channel? Yeah. Like, I used to watch Sonetta and shit. I had to stop watching Sonetta years ago. Not because I ain't got, I appreciate Sonetta for what he does, but I can't be watching niggas argue all goddamn day. You know? Yeah, Sandra Bland broke my heart too, C. Diggs. Yeah, check out Afro Elite channel. I'm pretty sure he's gonna have a good breakdown on all this stuff. I just, you know, I had to pull back from that, you know, a lot of that. And again, I check in, but it's just more so I've been into it for so long, you know, I just had to pull back. You know, but I'm not telling y'all not to, because those brothers, like Professor Black Truth, he gives good information. Like, he gives good information. So if you know, if you need the information, listen to him, man. I ain't telling y'all what to do. But I just had to pull back. It was shit. I can't be angry and then listen to niggas even tune their goddamn voices to sound angry. After a while, it's like, all right, nigga, damn, shit. This is why I stopped watching the news on TV, cause every story was murder, 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 kill, kill. Nigga, that's why I stopped watching the 10 o'clock news. Yeah, Jamaru, don't let it have you bent. Man, don't allow this shit to hurt you, brother. Sister, I don't know if you but man, don't man, this shit it's best that we understand that it's happening. do what we can do to help, but don't let it capture your energy, man. You can't give it your energy. Biz Marty said TV he angry because he can't pull female with flashing money. Hey, Biz Marty, I don't want that crowd. I don't want that crowd getting mad at my channel saying, "Look, the one changed." Chill. I don't want problems from that crowd. I still love the crowd, but yeah, that nigga full of shit. But I still love the people. The people I think are honest. They don't know what's going on. Salute to Eve. That's the homie. I ain't talked to Eve in a while, but salute to Eve. Lori Brown coming out the bag with it. But salute to the homegirl, Just Eve. Yeah, but I don't want problems from that crowd. If you still follow, I'm with you, man. I would never tell people not to listen to those channels. They give good information, but you say you keep it covered 25% when it comes to negative things. That's a good number to put it at. Yeah. And yeah, do you, people. That's right, Aries. Do you. Well, but yeah, but like, that stuff, you gotta stay focused on your mission. The only way we gonna get ahead, black folks, is if all of us get. That's why I love doing my cards and help people with their mission. You get focused on your mission. You get focused on your hustle. You get so focused on what you want to do, nothing can distract you, and you conserve your energy for you. You keep your energy for you. Your energy is yours. It's very precious. Don't just give it away all willy-nilly. And if a critical mass of us develop that mindset, and then once we get to the best that we can get, we trade amongst ourselves. We don't hate nobody else. We just love ourselves. I'm still willing to work with other people as long as you're paying the price. Our issue isn't working with other people. Our issue is giving it to them. I hear a lot of black people saying, we should just stop not work with anybody. As long as you pay, you gotta pay. Just pay. I work with anybody. Just fair market value. Fair market value. If you know, the white folks don't work together, they do business together. Pay attention. Japanese people don't work together, they do business together. You do business with people. Yeah, energy flows where attention goes. Let's use these metaphysical principles that Bobby Hemmett taught us for our greater good. Just focus on your mission. Get your shit right. Tighten your game up. And that's how it gets done. What if we all had money to put behind it? Every time a situation like a Carmelo Anthony or a Sandra Bland or any of those situations come up, what if we all just have, what if we all on our hustle to such a level that when those situations come up, we can get, 100 of us to put up $5,000 each, and then we just bully DAs and bully judges with our money the way other people do, the way Asians do, and everybody else. Just, if we all get our shit right, we can just start bullying people with our money too. You can buy white supremacy out. This shit's for sale. They don't give a fuck. They ain't got no principles and morals. These people their code ain't so goddamn tight they won't take the money. These are money fucking whores. We learned to be money whores from them. They ain't so fucking morally on a certain level that they're not down for the money. But you're only gonna get that not by begging for jobs, not by asking for acceptance and approval. You get that by cultivating your skills and your talents, having love for yourself, and you putting out what you do on the highest level, and having an economic base and selling it and not giving it for free this time and teaching it to our children, and then project that over a 30-year period, over a 40-year period. Remember, this time 30 years ago, China wasn't on the map economically in the world. China was a third world country. It was not on the map as far as an economic power just 30 years ago. Now look at what they're doing. 30 years. They didn't have a military, so they got one. So they built one. They had one. They had a weak military, they built a better one. They had a weak economy, they built it. Just look at where they 30 years ago. Imagine if we have look at where we were in the 1920s to where we got to the 1960s. The only reason why we stopped really moving forward because we stopped paying attention. Every time we pay attention in this country, all we gotta do is pay attention again, we'll be fine. Yeah, 70 years ago, China was where Africa is now. And Africa got the boot moved from its neck before China. And look where them niggas at. India and Nigeria got the boot removed from them. They got independent the same fucking time. And look where India is. Look where Nigeria is. It's mindset. These white folks ain't give nobody shit. Now China got them jobs or whatever. But as far as like removal from military oppression, white folks ain't stopped being militarily oppressive to anybody. Changing consciousness. But I'm about to get up out here. Thank y'all for listening. Get your intellectual power. Get all that shit. Get your reading at breakthroughcards.com. All right. I'll see y'all tomorrow, probably.